one, to see if there's any damage coming in that we're gonna get blamed for. Also, to try to sell some tires, wipers.
Right. And for a customer, why do you think a customer would want an inspection on their car? Any ideas?
Because I want to know it's safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Safe, reliable, peace of mind. And actually, those are the best words. And I'm going to tell you this. J.D. Powers, if you guys, this is something that's very, very important. You need to take this back to the stores if you haven't already. J.D. Powers did a survey with consumers, and they said, what are the top 10 reasons why you pick a service repair facility? What are they? And when we ask the same question to service advisors, you know what we hear? We ask us, what's the number one reason why a customer picks a service repair facility? The majority of advisors say price. Well, price isn't the top 10, it's number 5. You know what number 1 is? Exactly what he said. I want a safe car. That's the number 1 reason why they pick whoever it is that they're going to pick. Because by going there, they feel like they're going to get a safe car. The number 2 reason was to have a reliable car. Convenience is up there as well. The safe is 1, reliability is 2. So those are 2 key factors that your advisors have got to keep in the back of their mind whenever they're out talking to these customers, right? So by doing a walk around, if I do a walk around and show interest in the car, and that customer sees that I have interest in this car, and I'm actually going to show him and help him, with his car, they like that? Yeah, they do, right? So it's an interactive walk around. That's the thing I want to encourage all of you to do when you go back to your stores, is look at your walk around process, watch your people do it, and is it actually an interactive walk around? I know there's going to be a few exceptions at some stores. I know like at Lexus, they actually do a meet and greet, and the customer and the advisor goes off to an office, somewhere. But ultimately, then it's still explained to the customer. An interactive walk around, guys. And well, think about this. If the advisor, if we don't tell the customer about tires at the time of write-up, we wait and call them after the fact, how easy to sell them tires over the phone? It's not that easy. How easy to sell them tires if I'm sitting here showing them this versus this, on the tread compared to the other? It's much easier, right? So interactive walk around is a real key factor on this. And once I get through it, we'll talk about it some more, and I'll explain a few other things. So, Mr. Customer, you want to dump your car and pull in? So this will be in a store that's got the quick check system. So I'm going to load the customer in. Morning. My name is Ken. Sit right over here. Great. All right, Ryan. Looks like I've got the pre-appointment set up here for you this morning at 10 o'clock. It looks like I've got you coming in for an oil change and a check engine light. Yeah, that's correct? That's correct. Was there anything else that we needed to add to your list today? No, everything else is good. All right. On the check engine light, just to confirm, looks like the light's on solid, not flashing or anything? Yeah. Okay. And then also, looks like the car's running okay, so you're not experiencing any out of noise there yet. Okay. Approximately how long has the light been on? About 4 days. About 4 days, and it's still on right now? Yes. Okay, great. Good deal. Well, one of the things that we're going to do every time you bring your car into our dealership, right, is we're going to do a complimentary inspection on the vehicle. I've actually got one of our porters starting that inspection process up now. He's going to be checking a few things like alignment, tire wear, the brakes and so forth on there. Once that's finished, it's going to go back into our shop, and at that time our technicians will finish up that inspection process. They'll be printing a sheet up here for us shortly. Also, too, looking at your car, it looks like you've got 33,000 miles on it, right? I checked our history, and it looks like at 30,000 miles you've had all your services, so it looks like today, all you're due for today is that oil change. Okay. All right, great. They'll be printing the sheet up here for us. We'll go through and take a look at it. Excellent. Thank you, Jim. All right, now when I look at these sheets, there's several things I like to look at on here, but one is your tires. And if you'll notice, some of these numbers are in the green and some are in the yellow. This looks like right here, and this one's in the yellow. Would you mind if I got in your car and started up so I can turn the tire?
Oh, go ahead, grab it. Yes.
All right. So let's look at the tire first. When we go through and look at this left front tire is in yellow. Okay. means is that basically at sometime in the very near future, you're going to be replacing these tires. Once the tire gets into the yellow, you actually can experience a longer stopping distance, especially when things are wet right now. So here's what we look for. We come up here, if you look at this tread, see how it's worn quite a bit here? Yeah. And actually it's pretty even all the way across, it's worn down a lot. You see these small little bars right here? These are the replacement bars on your front tires, and you're almost down to it. So what we'll do is while it's in our shop today, I'll go ahead and get you some pricing on tires, and give you some comparisons, and I'll give you a choice of a good, better, best, or 3 options on there, all right? How about your wipers? Are they doing a good job cleaning your windshield?
Here, with it.
Okay. Let's just take a quick look at them. Yep. Actually, they feel pretty good. Let's go back and take a look at this back tire. Now, according to this, you see how these numbers are in the green back here? They're all good. And actually, look at the tire, sure enough, you see how it's got a lot more tread onto that front tire than there does. So we'll take a look at the other side. Oh, hey, I didn't notice. What happened right here?
I don't drive the car right now.
Oh, you wiped it down? Yeah. Most women do it sometimes, right? Okay, we look at this other tire, sure enough, looks like everything is in the green right here as well. That's excellent. Come up here. Now, if we look at this front tire, see how this has also got some wear on it? Now, the interesting thing here is that this outside tread is actually more and more than the inside tread. See how I'm talking about there? Okay. So by looking at both of those, as well as in my sheet that I've got here, it tells me that your car's out of alignment. One of the things I highly suggest while it's in here today is to go in and have us do an alignment on it, plus let's rotate the tires. I don't know if you price these tires. These run about $750 installed. So by us getting those rotated, as well as the alignment to reset on the vehicle, we'll get the maximum wear and tear out of those.
Okay.
To do all that today, it's going to be $89.95. Would you like me to add that to the list for the oil change and engine light? Okay, great. Let's check this other wiper blade. It feels good as well. One last check, take a quick look here under the hood. I like to look at a couple of things. One's your battery, and good news, the connections look nice and clean on here, so that means the car, as long as your battery's good, should start up okay for you. I also like to go over here and look at the brake fluid. Now you see this container right here? See this little line up here on top? See how where the fluid's actually at in here? See how it's quite a bit low? That could indicate that you might have a brake situation on your car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the technicians take a look at that today as well for you. Now on those brakes, you know, prices can be all over the board, but if I can get that fixed for you for say $300 or less, would you like me to go ahead and do it, or do you want me to give you a call first? Be glad to. All right, so review on phone numbers. I've got this number right here. Is your cell, is that the best way to reach you?
Yeah.
For that versus a text or an email?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, great. And it's a little bit after 10 right now. I'll be giving you a call today about 2 o'clock to give you an update on where we stand on your car. Anything else that we need to confirm?
I don't think so.
A good address up here. This is all accurate for you as well?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. If I can get your signature here on this sheet. Great. I'll be giving you a call today at 2 o'clock. Here's my business card. And then in turn, I'll give you an update and go from there. If we find anything else on that inspection by the way back in the shop, I'll let you know.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you see how I talked to him the whole time we were around the car about what we were doing, what I was looking at? And I'll tell you, if you'll do that, if you'll actually have people point to the tires and tell them this is what we're looking for, they like this stuff. They really, truly do. And I'll tell you, you're actually training your customers. And this is the thing about advisors. Right now, if you think about it, your advisors are training the customers just to come in and drop off keys and go to the waiting room. Because they allow it to happen, right? But if you do something like this and explain to the people, you'll find that the majority of the customers will do this. And what I like, there's one little thing I left out. I normally say, I'm going to do this inspection now, would you care to join? I usually ask the customer that. I'll get about 4 out of 5 say yes. I'll get about 1 out of 5 says, no, Ken, you go ahead. It's okay, great. It's going to take us a couple of minutes and I'll be right here with you. So that way they're at least still standing out here. So if I find something, like, hey, Mr. Customer, go over here, take a look at this, right? Now, with the quick check, the nice thing about this is I said they got a problem already. I didn't even have to walk over to the car. So on this one, I wouldn't ask the customer, do you want to join me? I would say, hey, I want to show you some stuff on your car. So I would purposely bring them over here and show them these tires. But I tell you, if you do that, I mean, with equipment like that, you can sell these alignments. Piece of cake. Obviously, I know quite a few of you guys already have these in here. So a couple of things that are key. Obviously, make sure you got to check them, right? If you're not checking them, that machine's not doing you any good. But whenever you do check them, make sure that it's interactive with that customer. Any questions? Now, the thing I did not go through was a menu presentation on here. He already had done all of his maintenance on the car. The menu presentations, guys, is just a real big deal. So a couple quick tidbits on here. The good news is most of our advisors are asking now, right? That's good. It's just because we've been hounding on them. So my question is, whenever they ask, are they using features and benefits to build value, or are they just merely saying it's important and do you want to do it? And here would be an example. Hey, Mr. Customer, your car's got 60,000 miles on it. There's an important service that needs to be done on it. We can do it while it's here today. It's going to be an extra $425. Would you like to do it? And I have found that by saying that, I'll get about 1 out of 10 to say yes. Good news was I got one, right? Bad news is I got a lot of no's. I didn't build any value at all in that. I just said, hey, it's important. You need to do it. Do you want to do it? But when you throw in features and benefits to build value, now I'll give 3 or 4 out of the 10 to say yes, because now they understand why it's important. And the last phase, and this is also equally as important, is overcoming objections. If I start using overcoming objections, I'll now get 5 or even 6 out of 10 to say yes. And when I say overcoming objections, for a lot of advisors, that scares the crap out of them. So they're saying, no, wait a minute, Ken. When that customer said no, you want me to try to go ahead and get them to say yes? No, that's not the case at all. The case is, guys, is that we need to ask questions and give them choices, right? People like choices. And if you give them a choice, some are going to say yes and buy it, and some aren't. And here's the perfect example. And I'm just going to pick a 60K, and obviously maintenance schedules vary a lot by stores. Some 60Ks don't have hardly anything in them, and some have a little bit more. Well, let's just say I presented a 60K and did it well, used features and benefits to build value, told the customer it's $350, and the customer says, oh gosh, Ken, I can't afford to do that today. Well, if I was an advisor in most stores, hey boss, you just told me no. I did my part, and you told me no. Is that when you want the advisor to stop? No, the advisor should say something like this. You know, Tom, I understand how you feel. $350, that's a lot of money to me too. Is there a dollar amount you do feel comfortable spending today? Or you could say, is there a dollar amount that fits in your budget today? Now just ask it. And you know what? The people will tell you, and I'm telling you, you'll have about 3 or 4 out of 5, they'll come back and say, I can spend 200 or 300. They'll tell you how much they can spend. Great. Well, for $200, I suggest let's go ahead and do this, this, and this. Now, the rest of the services are also important, so I've got a choice for you. If you'd like, we can make an appointment, for a month from now. And I always like to go 30 days. Don't go next week. So if they didn't have enough money to get it today, they don't have enough money in 1 week. So I like to go at least 30 days out. So I'm going to say, would you like me to make an appointment for 30 days out, or would you prefer to do it on your next service visit? What works best for you? And that's the real key. What works best for you? So I'm not pressuring you. I'm not saying you got to pick one or the other. What works best, right? Then people will pick one. So it's all about talking to the people in a professional manner, giving them choices whenever possible, and let them decide. And Don mentioned it earlier, the real key on all of this is that we do our job and give them good information so that they can make a decision that they don't regret later. Because if they regret it later, you know what, we didn't do a good job. And also, whatever they decide, we're totally good with, right? It's like going to the doctor. Doesn't mean I have to lose weight, doesn't mean I have to go on an exercise program, even though he suggested it. It's a choice. Questions about any of this stuff? Everybody? Guys are awful quiet. And so obviously if you've got tablets, it would be a little bit different, right? But I really, this is important. I really like doing a write-up at the customer's car. And here's why. Now some dealerships are set up really nice where the advisors are spread out and have their own individual work areas. However, a lot of stores that I go into, the guys are fairly close together. And do you think that's comfortable for a customer? If I got one advisor here and I got one advisor here, so there's a customer here and a customer here, and Glenn's asking me to spend money and I'm going to tell him no, I can't afford it, well, that might be embarrassing in front of this other customer, right? So if your advisor write-up area is tight, do the write-up at the car. That's the customer's comfort zone. Think about it, that's their comfort zone. So it's especially if you use a pre-write order or a pack, a packet, where you got the hang tag, you got the service menu, you got your history, you got everything that you need. You can do the complete write-up right out here in the car. This is where the customer feels comfortable. And I tell you, most advisors, if they've got a stool and a drive that's separate out here, they sit on that stool and I watch them, they make the customer walk in and see them. And they're busy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're sitting in there, just joking around. But inevitably, a lot of advisors don't go out and meet and greet at the car. I think it's important to do a meet and greet at the car whenever possible. Anything else? Any questions for anybody? All right. Well, for now, I'd like to turn it over to Hunter. So obviously, you've got some cool tools that makes this job a whole lot easier, plus more thorough in selling. So
just point out some of the technology.
Yeah.
So basically, you saw the process. You've got the printouts in don't know, Alan's our product manager for our Quick Check family of products here. So if you got any really tough questions, he's the guy to ask. So some of the main differences, some of you may have seen some of this before, some of it may be all brand new, but what we did here, this is our quick tread piece, and basically drive over this. Customers can do it, porters can do it, however you set up. It's up to you on which way you want to do it. But basically, there's a trigger on this side. It scans the tire similar to scanning a copy of a piece of paper. Basically creates a point cloud where it measures 300,000 different points on that tire, and then gives you an image that accurately depicts that tire. So this is the actual tread from that tire, and it measures tread in up to 6 places across the tire. Does that in about 10 seconds. Okay, so that there's really no time loss there at all. Once that's done, you saw that we actually connected our quick grip adapters. This is what we use to check the alignment. So the whole process of checking the alignment and then also checking the tires takes 40 to 50 seconds, somewhere around there. Yep. And then obviously we have some other things you can check as well. Good statistics, good thing to remember as far as return on investment. Obviously alignment is a very profitable service. 50 to 60% of the vehicles that you check are going to come back with a failure. We are checking per manufacturer specifications. The way that we're doing that is another new piece of technology, which is our Quick ID, which will be out, I think, next week, right?
Working as fast as we can.
Yeah,
sometime later this year.
Absolutely. So that's a new piece of technology. I'll let you go ahead and kind of describe what that does and how that further speeds the process.
Sure. So, copy the printout here. You can see a picture of the vehicle there and the license plate. When the vehicle drives over the quick tread, this camera up here actually snaps a photo license plate. We can do front or rear license plates. We will be able to do front or rear license plates. We actually take that picture of the code, the characters, so 1 through 3, A, B, C, D, down to the actual text. We take that data, send it to Carfax, back to VIN. We've automatically identified that vehicle at that point, and from the VIN we can pull the manufacturer alignment specification. So that's what we use to identify the vehicle. It happens in a matter of seconds, and we'll be able to support any state in the U.S. and international, of course, as well. It's not specific for one individual state. We can get the jurisdiction that it's called. It's a very powerful, robust system. Certainly it's not going to be, I'll tell you this up front, it won't be 100% every time, because you can imagine some vehicles don't have plates on the front or the rear. They could be dented, they could be damaged, but it will be a very quick and easy way to capture a vehicle's information. If you have the quick tread system, you could actually have essentially nobody manning the process. The customer vehicles pull in, that can be surfaced or flush mounted, so that right as you pull into the facility, the tread is automatically captured. The customer might not even realize it's happening, and you've already inspected every vehicle. Another key point about getting the VIN is we can integrate this with other retail selling tools. So an example would be the mini, I think you're probably aware of, is Dealer Tire. You can send the inspection results to Dealer Tire. They have the tire fitment information. They also have all the tire stocking plan information, levels, how many tires you have in stock, so they can build a quote right there on the drive using a tablet. You also have the ability to integrate with AutoPoint. So then all of a sudden you have the tire results automatically sent to that electronic write-up, and it's happened in a matter of seconds. So those are some of the cool new features that this technology will be able to unlock in the future. If there's anything, Larry, feel free to
just to add to that, our focus is to integrate with your process. So we don't want to be the piece that's slowing anything up. We want to be very quick, very efficient. If you like to use tablets on your service drive, we want to be able to export that information. And like Alan said, if you're using a multi-point, digital multi-point inspection, we have the capability now to send all these results. It's just a matter of having the other end capture them and display them, which is something that Alan works on, I think, every day. We never knew how many different options there were out there in the world. But the idea is that I capture all this information, I present it to the customer in a timely fashion. This goes right in line with what you were talking about, is this is most effective when the customer experiences it, when they see this happening with their vehicle live. I lose a lot of the impact if this is done and then I pick up the phone and call them and let them know I'm losing the impact of what I've just done here. On the printout itself, you can see that we actually have yellow and green. Red, you can set different measurements based on what makes the most sense for you. So whatever you want to show up as red, yellow, and green. We also have a stopping distance at the bottom that would let a consumer know that, hey, ideally at full tread, we'd see you stopping here at 60 miles per hour in a wet stopping situation. based on the tread that we measured on your vehicle, we see that you're actually still going to be going 31 miles per hour and stopping at 291 feet rather than 234 feet. So there's some pieces that are consumer driven there to help educate customers on why it's important to make sure that they've got the tires. And then obviously the alignment piece goes hand in hand with that as well. Okay. There are additional pieces that you can add. So what you see here we're checking the tires and alignment. That took less than 60 seconds. If you like, you can also check batteries. We can do an emission scan as well. This is actually a full lane that also will test brakes at the same time and inflate and deflate the tires to the appropriate pressure. As you add additional modules, your printout continues to build, so it becomes more of a full multi-point inspection. There is an additional time, so if you did everything that you saw here as a setup, that inspection would take more like 2 minutes. Okay, but you're also gathering some additional information. Alan, I'll grab one of those for you as well. Yes, sure.
This setup here is checking your tire, also checking the license.
Yes, sir.
Okay, how much weight is this able to hold? Commercial set?
About 3,500 pounds per wheel, so 14,000 pounds gross.
Jerry? I did, thank you.
Yeah, and this does not replace a visual inspection, right? So what we're doing here is we're feeling the actual braking power. We're making sure that we like front to rear and side to side. And we'll point out any additional or any issues that you have there.
Still like those heads up here?
We're still hooking heads up here. So the process that you saw over here, where the porter came around and hooked up those heads and then rolled the vehicle forward, that process still happens here as well. Okay. And if you're kind of breaking this down, the tires is a great piece. Failure rates, we see 15%, depends on the age of the vehicle you see really, but I mean nationally we're somewhere around 15%. I mentioned that for alignment it's more like 50 or 60%. So if you're thinking about opportunities at bats, you're going to have a lot more opportunities to talk to a customer about an alignment that needs to be put back in specifications than really anything else that's on this check. Okay. Any questions?
I'll add too, well, tires have a 15% failure rate on average. They're going to wear out at some point, right? So if the vehicle continues to come in the facility, you can capture that data and you can store it, and you can identify the time when the customer needs that tire offer made. So the data that we're using can be imported into services like AutoPoint that then can track that customer history. So there's a lot of power from gathering all that tire data from each vehicle as it pulls the facility. And that also leads into the customer retention aspect that we were talking about earlier. If you get a customer for the tires, you can get them for the brakes, for the battery, and all the other routine maintenance service items. So it's a key defection point for a lot of dealerships, and it's definitely something to keep in mind to maintain your customers.
I got one quick thing to bring up. Don and I were in Dallas about 2 weeks ago, went to a Honda 20 group meeting, and the moderator, in fact, was the moderator for John Ellen's Honda store. And as a whole around the country, Honda stores really don't have a lot of hours for repair order, and a lot of them, they just basically do oil changes and tire rotations. So they want 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. Whenever we were doing John's 20 group at one time, his moderator says, "You guys need to come see this other group." He says, "Man," he goes, "they knocked the ball out of the park." So I went and attended it. Don and I actually spoke there. They average